Welcome to Super Media Runners, where we run the media to you. So I was going to talk about Marvel Rivals, but I forgot. We are not that big. We didn't get that alpha access. Oh, and any criticism against the game will get you blacklisted by the developer. I mean, they kind of walked that back, but yeah, let's talk about some canceled Marvel video games instead. Starting with The Man Without Fear, I've always wondered why, at the hype of the Daredevil Netflix craze, we didn't get a Daredevil game. Open world, swinging via Billy Club, fighting crime with brutal combos, and solving cases as the world's greatest lawyer. Well, we could have got one for the PS2, Xbox, and PC in 2003. Daredevil, The Man Without Fear was an unreleased third-person beat-em-up that was being developed by 5,000 Feet. Plot of the game would be based on the Elektra Lives Again comic line, where the supposed death of Kingpin would cause a power vacuum that several gangs try to fill in Hell's Kitchen. The game was developed as a linear, open-world-ish game that would have Daredevil swing around a city completing missions with optional side missions that he could complete, not to mention a detective mode vision that would let Daredevil see heat sources and other forms of life around the area. So why did this game not see the light of day? Lots of meddling. 20th Century Fox was developing a Daredevil movie in 2003, which caused the game's size and scope to expand, huge suggestions and changes to the games by Sony and Microsoft, and the game being unreleased when a majority of the staff members who worked on the game left. You can find the rest of the story of its development on the Hidden Palace article in the description. The footage you've seen throughout this whole video is from a PS2 2004 prototype build of the game, which was released just last year, actually. Link to the full gameplay will also be put in the description. Now let's awkwardly pivot to fighting games. Marvel has been the face of several popular and cult classic fighting games. Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men Mutant Academy, and probably Marvel's Rise of the Imperfects. But do y'all remember Marvel Chaos, a 2007 canceled fighter published by EA? EA announced that famed development cell EA Chicago, the same developers behind the Fight Night and Def Jam Icon series, were signed on for fighting game with Marvel characters for the Xbox 360 and PS3, according to an announcement made on GameSpy in July of 2007. There is very little information about the game, as it was both announced and canceled within a few months after this announcement in November 2007. Unfortunately, the cancellation came after EA Chicago was closed down, according to an article on GameStop. However, the footage you are seeing is from several clips of an Xbox 360 prototype that was leaked online. Judging from the gameplay, this looked to be a fully 3D brawl fighting game with destructible environments and characters including the Juggernaut, Hulk, Captain America, and Thor. Definitely give a look using the links in the description. But let's just stop talking about just multiple Marvel characters. Let's get to Iron Man. You know, Iron Man really became the best superhero following the release of Iron Man in 2008, forever changing the landscape of superhero movies. Just in these past 2 decades alone, I'm shocked we have not received a next-gen Iron Man game that isn't an ensemble or terrible movie tie-in. However, between 2003 and 2005, Z-Axis, or also known as Underground Development, were working on a game about the Armored Avenger for the PS2 and Xbox. You see, Activision at the time was using the Marvel license to make a game tie-in for Iron Man, as well as another project for the upcoming X-Men movie. Aside from the announcement from an IGN article about Z-Axis hiring more people for both games in November 2003, there's nothing much. X-Men, the official game, would release in 2006, and Activision would later cancel Iron Man. Although we do have a few screenshots from the prototype in the games, no gameplay has been covered at the time of this video's release, but hey, at least we're getting a solo Iron Man game in a few years. But I think with that being said, let's close on one more game about the Avengers. Marvel's Avengers released for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC in 2020, and support for the game ended in late 2023. I think most people would want to say, why didn't we get an Avengers game sooner that was actually worth playing? Well, we could have, but would have it been good? No idea, but did you know that there was a canceled Avengers game that was set to release in 2012? The Avengers game was set to coincide with the release of the first Avengers movie. Boy, that takes me back. And was a co-op 4-player first-person brawler that gives me Left 4 Dead and Overwatch vibes. From the gameplay, we can see that you can control characters like Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, but unlockable characters included the likes of Fantastic Four, Miss Marvel, War Machine, Black Widow, and Ant-Man. Each character would have their own unique skills as well as assist attacks that were specific to certain character combinations, which kind of emphasized the teamwork of the whole game. In addition, the story would have borrowed elements from the Secret Invasion story in the comics with Brian Michael Bendis, you know, the guy who wrote the arc, that was brought in to script the game's story. So what exactly happened? Well, THQ Studio Australia, in charge of development, with Blue Tongue Entertainment involved in the outsourced development, would eventually be shut down due to parent company THQ suffering major financial losses in mid-2011 and made the decision to shut down both studios. And Marvel did not want to continue funding the project after the game's cancellation, which eventually led to Ubisoft acquiring the license. But yeah, huge bummer considering the risks and interesting concepts that the game would try to introduce. But hey, at least we got gameplay. Well, that's all the canceled Marvel games we learned about. What kind of Marvel video game would you want to see? Are there any canceled Marvel games you want to share? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Super Media Runners.